Rules and regulations are an important part of the legal landscape. A form of delegated legislation, a regulation has the same legal effect as a statute. In the American legal system, the three primary sources of law often need to be considered together. Statutes and regulations, as well as the appellate court opinions interpreting them, provide the legal researcher with a complete picture of the law. Through the informal rulemaking process called notice and comment rulemaking, a final regulation must first appear as a Notice of Proposed Rulemaking, or NPRM. The NPRM and the final regulation are published in the Federal Register, and the final regulation is codified in the Code of Federal Regulations, or CFR. Many lawyers read the Federal Register every day, or at least scan the table of contents. They look for new proposed regulations that might affect their clients. Some lawyers set up an electronic notification to track an agency or topic. If a legal researcher elects to rely on this type of electronic alert, it must be programmed carefully. A carelessly entered alert request may miss important developments. Legal researchers need to understand how to cite both the Federal Register and the CFR. The Federal Register is cited by a volume and page number. For example, 53 FR 29147, or sometimes 53 Fed Reg 29147. The CFR is cited by a title and a part or section number. For example, 7 CFR section 210.2. The first number is the title, in this example Title 7, covering agriculture. Part 210 relates to the National School Lunch Program, and Section 210.2 contains definitions. Let's take a closer look at the School Lunch Program definition of yogurt. The U.S. Department of Agriculture or USDA regulation defining yogurt directs the legal researcher to the Food and Drug Administration definition of yogurt by including a CFR citation within the USDA definition. This is called incorporation by reference and is a common technique in the law, especially contracts. Agencies incorporate by reference a wide variety of additional information to supplement the text of a regulation. In addition to other agencies' regulations, a regulation can also incorporate by reference private commercial publications, such as scientific standards. This practice saves space in the Federal Register and CFR because an agency doesn't have to reprint the information, but it can present a challenge for the people who are trying to comply with the regulation, as they have to track down and buy a copy of the incorporated document. The federal government produces a variety of free databases that contain regulatory information. One such site is regulations.gov. It is designed for the general public to easily and effectively participate in the rulemaking process. Another free government database is called federalregister.gov, which is an automated version of the Federal Register. It's a great place for daily monitoring and updating regulations. Federalregister.gov has a number of convenient features, but as the disclaimer says, it's not an official, authenticated version. When a legal researcher identifies a relevant item on the website, it's important to click on the PDF link to look at the corresponding image of the official print Federal Register. These PDF files are searchable both online and after they are downloaded. For example, on a PC, just hold down the Control key and type the letter F. If you're using a Mac, hold Command and press the F key. The third free government database is fdsys.gov, which stands for Federal Digital System. This is where the official versions of both the Federal Register and the CFR can be found. These official versions are digitized images of the printed pages and are not easily searchable by keyword. fdsys.gov also contains an electronic version of the CFR, the eCFR, which is searchable but is not official. The eCFR is continuously updated, although it runs a couple of days behind. Be absolutely sure to check each issue of the Federal Register after the data is current as of date, listed prominently on each page. You can find the Federal Register on fdsys.gov and federalregister.gov back to January of 1994, starting with Volume 59. The online CFR available on fdsys.gov goes back to 1996, but for current codified regulations, you'll want to look at the current year or the previous year. The CFR is published on a quarterly schedule, so depending on whether the title you need has been published yet, you may need to look at last year's CFR. The best method for finding a particular regulation depends on what information a legal researcher has to start. When you have a known citation, use the table of contents method in the official CFR on fdsys.gov. When you don't know the citation, enter a keyword search in the eCFR. A known statute can also lead a legal researcher to the corresponding regulations, if there are any. This is accomplished with something called the Parallel Table of Authorities and Rules for the Code of Federal Regulations and the United States Code. It can be found in the same Related Resources section where the eCFR is listed at www.gpo.gov/help/parallel_table.txt. Look up the United States Code citation, and if it appears, the corresponding regulation or regulations will be listed. For example, 18 U.S.C. Section 506 lists 36 CFR Part 1200. Let's begin by looking up a known citation, 49 CFR Section 571.213. This is a final regulation, so we'll start in the CFR on fdsys.gov. Select Code of Federal Regulations from the Browse list on the right side of fdsys.gov. Note that there are two versions of the CFR from which to choose. On the main part of the page, you'll see the Code of Federal Regulations Annual Edition. Off to the left side, under Related Resources, you'll find the Electronic Code of Federal Regulations, or eCFR. The Annual Edition is the official version, but the only way into it is the Table of Contents method. The eCFR is an unofficial version, but it allows keyword searching with either Boolean or proximity operators. There is a whole lesson on searching that explains how these operators work. The regulation we're looking for is a Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard issued by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA. The NHTSA is part of the Department of Transportation, which falls under Title 49. Then click on Part 571 for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Department of Transportation. Click on 571.1 to 571.500, Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. The particular Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard we're looking for is number 213, which is about child restraint systems. Now let's look up a known citation in the official CFR using the Table of Contents method. Select the current year. Titles 42 to 50 are published in October, which means they aren't available until the end of the year, so we may need to look at last year's CFR. Click on the appropriate year and scroll down to Title 49. Keep clicking on the plus signs until the section you're looking for appears. Title 49, Section 571.213. Then click on the PDF link. Here's what the first CFR page looks like. Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard 213 is 48 pages long, and this is just the first part of the first page. The running headers at the top of the pages tell what title and edition of the CFR it is, and what agency issued the regulation, in this case, the NHTSA. Now we'll search regulations.gov to see if any Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards have been updated this year. Enter the citation 49 CFR section 571 in the search box. It's a long list, so click on the agency box on the left side of the screen and select NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Then uncheck all the boxes under document type except rule. We aren't interested in proposed rules. We just want to see if any of the federal motor vehicle safety standards have been superseded by a more recent final rule. Now change the Sort By box in the upper right corner to Posted Newer to Older. This is a list of final rules relating to federal motor vehicle safety standards issued by the NHTSA in reverse chronological order. Scroll down until you find the text of the relevant revision. Remember, you still need to open the PDF to see the official version. Here's a PDF Federal Register page for 79 FR 10396, showing a version of Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard 213 that was promulgated on February 25, 2014. Note the official seal. Remember to check the top of the page to confirm that this is a final rule rather than a proposed rule. Note also that this entry begins on page 10,396. It starts with a discussion of the comments received and how the final regulation came to take its current form. The text of the actual final regulation does not begin until page 10,411. Now we're going to look for a regulation for which we don't know the citation. We'll start in the ECFR. We're looking for regulations describing the official seals of the National Archives and Records Administration, which is the agency responsible for publishing the Federal Register. Go to www.ecfr.gov. Select Simple Search from the list on the left side of the screen, and type NARA seal, N-A-R-A seal, in the search box. It's Title 36, CFR Section 1200.2. Here is the PDF of the CFR describing the seal and showing a picture. Remember, the ECFR is not an official source, so once you identify the relevant CFR citation, make sure to look at the PDF on the main CFR page of fdsys.gov. The ECFR provides direct links to a PDF for images, but not the text of the regulations. To find the PDF, the researcher must use the Table of Contents method on the official CFR webpage of fdsys.gov. There are several free government websites that provide regulations, but whichever one you use, make sure to look at the official text in PDF and be sure to update through today's Federal Register.